Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and welcome to Overwatch Central. So most of you know that I'm a Reinhardt player at heart. It was the first hero that I sort of picked up when playing Overwatch, and it immediately became one of my favourite heroes to play. Well, in this video I want to talk about the ultimate changes that we covered a couple of days ago, with the ultimates that can be hacked and CC'd, interrupted with all the ultimate charge going. The ultimate charge changes, which aren't on a PTR, these went straight to live. Some of these changes can be easily explained. The ultimate charge is now immediately expended when a hero's ultimate is activated. Instead of when Reinhardt's hammer hits the ground or Lucio hits the ground with his sound barrier, they're used as soon as you press Q. Now, of course, this is fair, and I think this is more for consistency's sake than a form of balance update for Blizzard. But in this video, I want to go over the winners and losers of what these ultimate changes mean to certain heroes. But mostly, the main sort of thing that I want to look at, because I have video evidence to sort of show how brutal it is how these ultimate changes are a huge, massive nerf for Reinhardt. I'm not saying that every time that you go to play Reinhardt now, this is always going to happen, but I'm sure if you play a few games of Reinhardt, you'll start to understand what I mean. And that this kind of thing can happen quite frequently. And it's the same with the D.Va changes as well. When it comes to the importance of some ultimates, I would say Earthshatter is one of the more important ones to get right. It could be game winning both from an offensive and defensive standpoint, being able to shut down nano boosted targets with it, clearing out the enemy as a whole, shattering them before they get on the point as you take it, that kind of thing. Most of you know that's an important ability and can often be overlooked with how effective it can be. With the footage that you're seeing on screen now, I was playing in some scrims, and one of the main things that I noticed was I had 3 ultimates that didn't actually go off that we used up. Now, I don't want to give off the impression that I'm complaining about something because it's on a hero that I play a lot of. I don't necessarily think it's something like that, but the way that I see it is this. I played Reinhardt in this game on King's Row, and 3 of my ultimates didn't go through because of the new changes. I was either stunned out or killed or knocked back, which is one of the examples that I used in the previous video with Sombra. Being whole hogged into the air with Reinhardt as your ulting, you don't get to keep your ultimate anymore, it gets expended. So there are a lot of situations where that's more of a problem. But it's not just whole hog, hook, EMP, sleep dart, hacks. Flashbang can all interrupt, and for Reinhardt in particular, it feels a bit unfair. Now, the same effect happens to other heroes as well. Let's use the example of Hanzo that could also have his ultimate interrupted and has the same amount of cast time almost. Hanzo can position himself further back from the fight and usually ults from a distance from the enemy, whereas Reinhardt's always going to be using Earthshatter in the middle of a fight. He's going to be a big target, and because he's a tank, dropping that shield for the amount of time that he actually winds up for his Earthshatter can get you killed with ease. If you're a Hanzo, say a Junkrat, and you get interrupted, then you need to sort of focus on where you're positioned, and you shouldn't be positioned in a place where there's enemies around you because you don't need to. Reinhardt does, unfortunately. So that's why I feel that this update is much more unfair to Reinhardt than it is to other heroes that have similar issues with it. Whilst I understand the idea that Blizzard was trying to implement, having this happen to me 3 times in a game is pretty crazy when you compare that to a Grav or a Pulseball being eaten by D.Va. I guess you do have to play a lot smarter Reinhardt to make sure that this doesn't happen, and it may take a progressive amount of time to get used to these changes, but part of me feels that this is a really big change to Reinhardt that has been overlooked. As I said, I don't want to just have this focus on Reinhardt and be like, oh my main, why has this happened? I don't want it to be that. I don't want it to be me complaining. Hopefully you see the point that I'm trying to make and why I feel that Reinhardt has been indirectly nerfed to a point that it is a nerf. It's not just a change, it's not just a fix. I feel that this is really against Reinhardt, and it's against the way that Reinhardt plays. But let me know what you think on that front in the comments below. Now I want to go over some of the other heroes in Overwatch, where they stand with these changes. Another hero that I've wanted to highlight in this is D.Va. Now, before, D.Va could actually be stunned getting into her mech. It was fairly easy to do. You can see a D.Va trying to get into a mech from a mile away, but she'd still keep her ult charge, meaning that if you were McCree and stunned trying to get in, she would have another opportunity to do so, right? Nowadays, if you get stunned trying to get into your mech, regardless of whether you lost it in the first place or whether you used it for an ultimate, you lose all of your ult charge, meaning that you have to stay as mini D.Va and build up your ultimate again, but most likely in that situation, you'll probably die. So I think this is another huge nerf for her. Doomfist is a little bit stronger for the fact that he stuns with his right click, so it means that his CC is a lot stronger in those situations, to interrupt a lot of ultimates. His ultimate doesn't get interrupted at all. One of the channeled ultimates that doesn't get affected, so he's in a better position. Genji was a worrisome one to begin with. Whilst he was using his animation before, if he got flashbanged, his ultimate would be expended and not used at all. Now that isn't the case, Genji is neither affected by this at all, so he's the same. McCree, this is huge for him. Flashbang now has a lot more uses and can be used to shut down a lot of ultimates if he can figure them out. Heroes like Pharah and Reaper had this problem for so long because they had channeled ultimates, so this isn't really any different for them and they don't have any CC. Soldier's ultimate, again, transformation ult like Genji, isn't affected, doesn't have any stuns, so it doesn't really bother him. Sombra, much like McCree, has a lot of CC abilities that can be used to shut down all of these ultimates going off, so another winner in this bracket. Tracer's ultimate before could be interrupted at the right kind of time, but I no longer think that this is the case for consistency's sake, so again, she's okay, she's in a better position. Bastion transformation ult doesn't affect him, no CC doesn't apply. Hanzo, Junkrat and Mei, however, all of their ultimates can be interrupted. Mei's a little bit more harder to get the CC to work, but Junkrat and Hanzo have quite long load up times when using their ultimates, so if you see that happening, throwing in a flashbang, sleep dart or EMP will quickly shut those down and they will lose all of their ult charge. Torbjorn and Widowmaker have transformation ult, so it doesn't affect them, and again, no forms of stun. D.Va we've spoken about. I think that she's one of the biggest losers in this patch, being able to be stunned at getting into mech, which is a very easy ability to telegraph. You can see it happening, and it has a bit of a longer wind up time, meaning that it's very easy to make sure that D.Va can never get back into a mech, so that's a big problem. Risa can actually be stunned out of doing supercharge. It might not seem obvious, but it's true, so do be careful on that front, and her right click doesn't interrupt. Reinhardt, we've gone over, huge loss for him. Roadhog has this problem with his ultimate can be easily interrupted, but he does have his hook, so he can do a lot with shutting down other people's ultimates. Winston is a transformation ult, doesn't affect him. And Zarya, much like Tracer, the projectile doesn't get eaten up. Nano Boost can be interrupted, but much like Mei, the timing has to be perfect. But she has Sleep Dart, so it's kind of a give and take change for Ana. Lucio, again, another huge loss here. Now that his ultimate goes off when he presses Q and not when he hits the ground, meaning that you can't really jump off the side of buildings with sound barrier, because if you get sniped out of the air as you're falling down, you won't keep that ultimate. Mercy, Symmetra, and Zenyatta are unaffected by this. So just to close, Doomfist, McCree, Sombra, Roadhog, and Ana are all winners with this. Their ultimates, for the most part, remain unaffected by these changes, but they have a lot of utility to shut down other people's. Whereas Hanzo, Junkrat, Mei, D.Va and Reinhardt especially, Ana and Lucio do have a tougher time with that. Honestly, I'm not a fan of some of these changes. I kind of understand Hanzo and Junkrat, they should be at a distance away from the fight anyway. Just Junkrat ulting on a point is going to get you killed, and your tire won't do as much maybe as it would in other fights. But the likes of Mei, D.Va, Lucio, Reinhardt, I feel this is huge for them. But as I've highlighted, much bigger for D.Va and Reinhardt. You have to play a little bit smarter with Lucio. Don't jump off the sides of buildings and stuff. Just make sure that you can get the ultimate, hit the ground as soon as possible. But the fact that D.Va struggles to get back into her own mech, even when after ulting, which rewards your play of getting damage done and mitigating stuff going on, rewards you with an ultimate, right? So you use that ability, but then you are somewhat handicapped, because if you get stunned when trying to get back into your ultimate, you are punished as if you lost your mech. So I have a huge problem with that, and maybe you guys do as well. As I said, if you think that I'm just bitching and moaning here, let me know in the comments, but I'm feeling pretty strongly about this. I feel for D.Va and Reinhardt especially, this is a pretty big loss in their favour. Really good to see the likes of McCree and Sombra have more utility to their play in Roadhog especially, but man, some heroes do really suffer with these changes. Let me know what you think below, and until next time, take care, we'll see you then. Before we get started, we still are doing a giveaway with HyperX, which is giving away free Cloud Alpha headsets. These are brand new, you can get them, and it's fairly straightforward to enter the competition. You can find all of the giveaway stuff in the description and comments below.